Have you ever wanted to learn to cook but just didn't know where to start?
Well, we're the guys from Sorted Food and we've teamed up with Co-op to create Now Cook It.
A free online course to show you how to up your food game.
So head over to Now Cook It to get started, but for now, check out this video from the course.
Pesto pasta salad. It's an incredibly simple but absolutely delicious dish that is also going to teach us the skills of how to make a pesto, how to boil pasta, and how to turn all of that into a salad, which seems like a really useful thing for a pesto pasta salad.
It's also really quick because it doesn't take any longer to make than it does to cook pasta, and therefore that's our first job. So we're using dried fusilli, but you can use any pasta you want, whatever shape, whatever you've got in the cupboard or can get hold of, about 100 grams per portion. And what we're looking here is a few things to bear in mind when it comes to cooking pasta. Your water, plenty of it, has to be at a rolling boil. We're not looking to poach pasta. It's the movement in the water that stops it all from sticking together. We're going to season the water. So we're going to get our pasta in. A quick stir to make sure the pasta pieces aren't stuck together, and then we want to bring it back up to boil as quickly as possible, so the lid is going to help that.
Okay.
It will then need about 9 minutes of cooking before we drain it, and in that time we can make the pesto.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but pesto is a very Italian treat, which people are very particular about.
Yes, so there's a set ingredients that go into it. You've got lots of fresh basil, you've got kind of the salty hard cheese of Parmesan, garlic, olive oil, and the texture comes from the ground up nuts, pine nuts.
So we're going to completely muck that up,
So we're going to put all of those things in,
Yep.
but each one is slightly different.
Okay.
So instead of pine nuts, we're going to put in walnuts, a cheaper alternative. Instead of the fresh basil,
Yep.
which is the green fragrance, we're going to put in spinach.
Okay.
Give you the same green colour, loads of nutrition, but a lot cheaper. As for the cheese, we're not going for Parmesan, we're going to go for an English classic, and one you may already have in your fridge, cheddar. And typically you'd grate this, but because we're using a food processor, we can just chunk up the cheese. Garlic, that's not changing, so a clove of that. We get that in Britain, right? The Isle of Wight Festival.
Every now and then. I've been to a garlic
Not the
farm
music
there.
one, but the garlic one.
I'm surprised you've even heard of the music one.
When it comes to pesto, because it's raw garlic, 1 small clove is plenty. And then instead of olive oil, which you could use if you got it in the cupboard, we're going to actually go with rapeseed oil.
So that's a British alternative.
Yes, so all these, it's like a British pesto.
Or as we called it, a pesto.
Drizzle all of that in there, and then all you need to do is blitz it up. Now the consistency we're looking for is something that will cling to the pasta,
Yep.
but isn't so thick that you end up with kind of blobs on the plate. This right now, a little bit too thick.
Yep.
So all we're going to do is add a little bit of water in as it's blending for the last few seconds, just to thin it up, just so it's something that kind of relaxes on the plate,
Relaxes.
but will still cling to pasta.
Relaxes.
That's kind of now what we're after.
Oh, nice.
So it's a little bit wetter, but it will still cling to the pasta.
Now, when you're making a really simple pasta dish, it's very, very easy to just have something that's all one colour and have nothing else in it.
Which would be pesto and pasta. This is like one of those staple dishes. Boil up some pasta, get a jar of pesto out of the fridge, mix it together, job done. By making your own pesto, it's so much fresher. With all the spinach in there, it's so much more nutritious.
Yeah.
Plus, this little touch, cherry tomatoes. All we're going to do is halve them. And if you have a serrated knife, that's going to be a lot easier to cut through a soft tomato. And they are going to go into our pasta water in the last minute of cooking. So it's had about 8,
Okay.
and they're going to go in just enough to warm through,
Yep.
but not so much as cook and go mushy. Tomatoes in, and they'll literally need another minute. Just before you drain your pasta, check that you're absolutely happy it's cooked. Fish out 1 piece, and just on a board with the back of a knife, i.e. the non-sharp bit, just see if you can press it through the pasta, and if it goes through, no trouble at all, and you can't see any sort of crunchy bit right in the middle, it's cooked. Otherwise, test it.
And you want it slightly al dente.
That's the term.
Okay.
Because this is a British pesto, we're going to say to the tooth.
To the tooth.
Because al dente is an Italian word.
Right.
But yeah, that's exactly what you want. So something that's not mushy, so it has a slight bite. So we're just going to drain all of the tomatoes and pasta into a colander. And then the key here is to put it back into the hot pan. Pasta going in. So this is 400 grams, so plenty for 4 people. But if you're not using all the pesto in one go, it stores really nicely in the fridge.
And how long will that last for?
at least a week, and it's great for things like roasted vegetables. You can put it on chicken, you can put it into different salads, not just pasta salad. And there we go, absolutely delicious. Now, another thing to mention, if you're going to eat it straight away, like a quick midweek meal, serve it up, good to go.
Pesto pasta.
Ready in literally 10-12 minutes. As soon as the pan of water's boiled, you're good to go. Alternatively, if you're going to save this to take cold in a packed lunch, school or work, or as a pasta salad at a barbecue,
Pesto pasta salad.
then add another 50 ml of cold water into here and stir it through. Otherwise, as this cools, it goes really claggy.
Okay.
We're going to serve this straight up because it's too delicious to wait. But that is everything you need to know to make a pesto pasta salad.
You haven't. Oh, what's that noise?
Just the smell alone.
Right.
You've still got all the same texture of a pesto from the walnut. Completely different flavour.
Yeah.
And incredibly simple. You know, you can mix up the cheeses, you can mix up the nuts, but if you want the full recipe for this one and all the details, then check them out down below.